Welcome back to Harbaugh. The crew from Vice News on HBO was on the ground through all the events of the weekend, capturing up close and personal really well these interviews, as well as interactions between the white supremacists themselves and, of course, the counter-protesters. They were there when one demonstrator plowed his car right through a crowd of counter-protesters, killing one and injuring 19 others. There's the scene of the accident there. But they also had access to one of the speakers of the Unite the Right rally, a white nationalist and self-proclaimed fascist, according to Southern Poverty Law Center. Here's what he told Vice in a chilling interview just after the events Saturday.
The video appears to show someone striking that vehicle when these animals attacked him again, and he saw no way to get away from them except to hit the gas. And sadly, because our rivals are a bunch of stupid animals who don't pay attention, they couldn't just get out of the way of his car, and some people got hurt, and that's unfortunate.
So you think it was justified?
I think it was more than justified. I think that a lot more people are going to die before we're done here, frankly.
Why?
Why? Because people die every day, right? I mean,
but not like of a heart attack. I mean, violent death.
Well, people die violent deaths all the time, right? Like, this is part of the reason that we want an ethno state, right? So, like, the blacks are killing each other in staggering numbers from coast to coast. We don't really want to have a part of that anymore. And so the fact that they resist us when we say, hey, we want a homeland, is not shocking to me, all right? These people want violence, and the right is just meeting market demand.
I'm back with Howie Jackson from Trump Tower, Jonathan Swan of Axios, Heidi Prespa of USA Today, Jason Johnson of The Root, and Sophia Nelson, former GOP committee counsel. Sophia, you saw those pictures, and I think you've watched them like everybody all weekend. What did you make of the interpretation by that white nationalist of what happened when that woman was killed?
It's my first time seeing that video clip, and it made my stomach hurt as I sit here. I'm appalled. But what I'm very concerned about is that young white men in this country are being radicalized, no different than ISIS radicalizes Muslim men. And so I think that we really need to take a hard look, Chris, at what's going on in America, that there's this rise of Nazism, white supremacy, KKK is back in the streets with the hoods off. I saw the same thing everybody else saw, and I'm concerned because it says that our country is deeply divided, that there's a faction in our country who feels disaffected, disconnected, disenfranchised, and they're angry and they're violent. And I think we have a serious problem on our hands.
Whose fault is it?
I think it's a lot of people's fault. It's the culture's fault. But if you're looking for the obvious answer, yes, I think the occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has stoked this up in some subtle ways and some not so subtle ways. And today he really said who he really is, I think. I don't think there's a question anymore.
Jason?
First off, for all of the statements that guy wanted to make about, oh, you know, people getting out of the way, what about DeAndre Harris? The young black man who was beaten by 5 people in a tunnel in Charlottesville, who we interviewed at The Root. That's on video. He was beaten. People were bragging about it on Facebook. The president didn't call him. The president wasn't concerned about him. That is what we're talking about here. And I think this is important because Sophia sometimes sort of conflates these things. We're not talking about bigots. We're not talking about, I don't want them in my neighborhood. I don't want them in my school. We're not even talking about white supremacists. I think black people are only good at basketball and white people are good at math. We're talking about white nationalists. That's different. These are people who say this country is only for Christian white people, and we want the removal of all 9 Christian white people from this country. That's where it becomes terror. That's where it becomes problematic. And to the degree that anybody in this administration doesn't realize how dangerous that is, look, ISIS kills more Muslims than anybody else. They will kill white people, they will kill Jews, they will kill Catholics, they will kill anybody they need to kill until they accomplish their goal.
Yeah. Heidi, you are a straight reporter, and you were watching these scenes. I mean, if you look at the scenes that just play referee, who are the aggressors?
We're not there for every single skirmish. There may have been instances where the people who they were trying to incite were successfully incited, and they charged first. It looked that, but the goal of this entire episode was to incite. It was
I heard
to
that.
send a
People are
message.
yelling, using the N-word. They're going after Jewish people. They're using anything they could to get in the face of the people across from them. Yeah.
Right.
And they came with guns.
Jonathan.
Hey, Chris, can I say something?
Yeah, quick. I want to get Jonathan in here, too, but go ahead, Sophia.
I just want to respond to Jason. I mean, I don't know what he means that Sophia deflates these things. Sophia's been unequivocal in her language about this. If you're asking me who I think is to blame for the culture problem I mentioned of white males being radicalized, I think that is a national problem. If you're asking me about Charlottesville, yes, the Nazis did it, the white supremacists did it. I'm unequivocal about that, so please don't put words in my mouth. Thank
Can I
you.
say one more thing, Chris? Can we do away with this economic angst narrative? Because many of these, they are intentionally trying to recruit educated young white males. One of the main organizers here was the head of the college Republicans. These are educated, potentially professional men, and this is let's just do away with this economic.
You know, it's
angst
not exactly
narrative.
homegrown, because these guys were using the Nazi salute, which we all grew up with. We know what it is. They were using slogans, blood and soil, apparently from the Nazi movement. They were picking up on everything but goose stepping and the torches. Everything was redolent of Nazi Germany. And I wonder what that has to do with America. We fought Nazi Germany. Why would they claim fealty, loyalty to that?
Chris, the thing that,
without admitting it, it's just pure race. It just is pure race.
it's
not American culture or anything like that. Go ahead.
The most chilling part of this for me is that they don't wear hoods anymore.
Yeah.
It's that they don't wear hoods anymore.
They're out in the open.
They have their heads, and they're proud for their faces to be out there.
And
that is the most chilling thing about all of this.
And by the way, national television will make sure
they don't wear hoods
anymore. That guy came on with the reporter. By the way, congratulations to Vice. That was real good for American transparency. But that guy was frighteningly happy. He looked like a happy guy to be espousing that awful stuff. Hallie Jackson, thank you. Great reporting again. Jonathan Swan, thank you, sir. Heidi Presla, as always. Jason and Sophia Nelson, thank you for joining. I know it's been a tough interview for you, but you've been great, and thank you for coming on. This is